imported from a 10-mile away quarry. And they're hewn in andesite, which is incredibly hard. And this is supposedly a dock, a port for ships, even though it's at the altitude of 13,000 feet above sea level right now. It's actually 15 miles away from Lake Titicaca, which name means Lion Cliff. Titicaca does. So you have the Puma Gate and the Lion Cliff in the same area, in an area where no one could grow anything because it's too high, and that supposedly held ships and docks. Here's a picture of the shattered remains of Puma Punku. This is the megalith that weighs around 400 tons. They're shattered and jumbled together like tinker toys. And this has all been uncovered just recently. These are some of the newer excavations. They don't have enough money to really take the overburden off the top of it. But again, a geologist will tell you these are Pleistocene alluvials. And they're not just plain Pleistocene alluvials. They're called marine Pleistocenes, which means they were deposited by salt water. So what you have to ask yourself then is, what are alluvials doing here from the Pleistocene? Because the Pleistocene ended 13,000 years ago. And this looks like some of the most intricate stone laying. I mean, if you look at these pieces of work here, they're hundreds of tons. You can't even insert a knife blade between many of these. They're set with such precision that they're dug down into the bedrock and then multi-facets so that they don't jar loose. What's that doing under waterborne detritus? It's because it's just like Enoch says. There was a global flood. In fact, the people, the Indians of that area, actually were able to get into detail about it. They said that a massive body came close to the earth and that it pulled a tidal bulge of the oceans out with it, because the earth captured this body like a moon or a comet in its gravity. And as this orbit decayed, it reached its Roche limit and fragmented, and this huge wall of water, this huge mound that was moving along with this moon, was dissipated, and it flowed back towards the poles each direction, and it wiped out their civilization in one night. And that's their legend. Now the Watchers, those who've been abducted by the Watchers, many times come back with this idea that the Watchers are saying the Earth's going to be destroyed again. Well, they should know. Enoch says that they're the reason the Earth was destroyed already. But it's interesting that this would be a revelation to those who've been studying Bible prophecy, because when the Messiah comes back, that eschatology talks about disasters unlike men have ever existed through are coming. So it's a no-brainer. But the reason they say this is because they want to convey why all this hoopla about connecting the heavens to the earth. Why are they doing this in this way? What they're trying to tell us with the placement of these megalithic sites, they're talking about precession. They're talking about a clock, a cosmic clock, that talks about when the chaos, the destruction, the global decimation will happen again. It's a clock that they're trying to explain to us. They not only have to show us the clock, they have to explain how it works. And this explains it. These megalithic sites have been placed in a configuration around the earth in the manner of a pentagram. Why? If you look at a Cydonia fruit, cut it in half, this fruit that symbolizes knowledge from heaven, it's also pentagonal. In fact, Pythagoras used to, and he is considered the father of many illuminated fraternities, he used to hand his new student apple and a knife. And if the student was worthy of being taught by him, he would cut it along the equator instead of along its axis. It would reveal a perfect pentagram inside. And the secret then that he just revealed would be the secret of precession. The precession of the equinox is a ill-understood function of the heavens. But it's integral to understanding how this heaven to earth knowledge works and what the Watchers are trying to tell us. They're trying to get the scoop on the idea that there's going to be a cataclysm coming. They want to be able to tell mankind, with this knowledge from heaven, we're in charge. We're your progenitors. We're the guys who are in control of this earth. We have been before. We're going to warn you through these various means. They're kind of doing this distraction technique, which is interesting, but here you have the equations, real simple, 72 degrees between each one of these points, and in the 360-degree circle, a system where you measure a circle by 360, you end up with the exact number it takes to go through one cycle of the precession. That is, every year, the sun will rise just a little bit farther along the signs of the zodiac, the 12. It takes 72 years to move 1 degree. So 360 degrees times 72, you get 25,920 years. Well, that's like the first hand of the clock, the hour hand, say. It's the major hand, it's the slow hand of the clock that they're talking about, the great celestial clock of doom. You can actually see this precessional number incorporated into the latitude of the crop glyph, the crab crop glyph, in 19.47. There is exactly 2,160 miles between these two latitudes, as a crow flies, even over the curvature of the earth. That's how exact it gets. 2,160 is exactly the number of years it takes to move through one sign of the zodiac. Just for the heck of it, I decided to divide that number by pi, because it seemed to be something that the crop circle the Watchers were showing. And lo and behold, the number you get is exactly the number of days in a Martian year. This is connected to the Earth, though. We're talking about how many solar days in the Earth it would take to equal a Martian year. And then in addition, I didn't put this up because it wasn't quite as significant, if you subtract 333 from that, you get exactly the number of days in a lunar year. Okay, well, in addition to this idea of precession of the equinoxes, there are 4 cardinal points to the ecliptic. Here's the 12 signs of the zodiac are aligned on here, but there are 4 cardinal points as the stars. The brightest ones on the ecliptic are in these constellations: Leo, Ophiuchus, Aquarius, and Taurus. And that is a signature of a cherubim. Now, this is a symbol that many who study history will realize have been around for a long time. And they're a huge part of like an insight or a symbol for the angelic beings in the Old Testament. They had 4 faces, Ezekiel talks about. Well, there's 4 cardinal points to the ecliptic. If you combine them all together, you get this unique little animal here. And this one is an ivory from, it escapes me, but there's a head here, a human head, 4 paws of a lion, eagle wings, and the back part supposedly of a bull. The bull tail is up instead of down, so they believe that it's a bull. It has all the hallmark and stamp of an angelic being, which seems almost like a paradox. If the Watchers are angels, but angels are in the Bible as being good guys, you know, what's the difference? Well, there are moral alignments with angels. There are those who've decided they will do what God wants. There's those who have actually been corrupted, along with the greatest angel, the greatest cherub, whoever was in existence, who was corrupted by his own beauty. And now we have this interesting sort of moral conflict going on, and you see the motifs of this. It's the center of the Ark of the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was held, the very most holy object that the Hebrews had. These guys are guarding it. The same symbols are on the top of the ark. It's all about something to do with this conflict. The heavens, the angels, humanity. On a side note, the guy who built all this stuff in Solomon's temple was from Sidonia. Hiram of Tyre, he was the king of Sidonia. He didn't call himself